Welcome to Beyond Semiahmoo. Our guest today is Faith Dutt, second-year forward for the University of Florida Gators women's basketball team. Faith backstopped Semiahmoo to their first AAA senior girls provincial back in 2019 after a 50-year drought. She earned a spot on the Bio-Steel All-Canadian game for top basketball players in the country in 2019, and she was also a member of the U19 Canadian national team at FIBA U19 World Championships in Thailand. In her freshman year at the University of Florida, Faith played in 27 games and slowly improved her game as the season progressed. Welcome, Faith, and thank you so much for coming on the show.
Of course, thank you for having me.
So how are you doing now? I heard you're back in Florida. How's the situation there? Do you have a season right now?
I'm good. Our situation here, we do have a season. The season will commence November 25th. So we've just been preparing for that and training as usual. It's been kind of hard with COVID. There are a lot of procedures that we have to go through, and life really isn't the same on campus and throughout training and stuff like that. So it is different, but we're definitely managing.
That's good. So how has playing for Florida been? Like, what are you studying right now? Like, how's life?
Life is good. Being at a Power 5 school is always a blessing. It's always really cool to experience and stuff. Playing at Florida has been honestly really, really cool. I think like academics is awesome. I chose my major as telecommunications in broadcasting. So okay. I'll be exploring that. Yeah, I'll be exploring that a little bit. And I don't know. I just think it's probably some of the best experiences I've had. I mean, coming to this school and just making all the lifelong friends I will have and teammates and stuff like that. It's been a pretty good ride for a second year, I think.
All right. So I heard you played for Canada in U19 in Thailand, right? How was that experience like? Because I know for a lot of people, playing for the national team is a dream, right? So how was that?
It was definitely a blessing. I was really happy to get out there and play for my country. Having your last name on your back and your country on your chest is not something a lot of people could say. So it was just really cool that I was one of the lucky ones to experience that, and going overseas and playing in Thailand and playing against all these other teams from different countries and just seeing their culture and their style of play. It's just a really cool thing as a basketball player to experience, for sure.
Awesome to hear, actually. So what is your goal after university? Like, so you want to go professionally? Do you want to go in, like you always said, you want to go broadcasting, right? Like, what is your goal going beyond university?
Well, as far as broadcasting goes, I just think it would be a cool profession if I decide to be done with being on the court. I think right now the dream definitely is to, play all 4 years, get my degree, go pro, whether it's overseas or in the WNBA. But if I'm done with that, then I always want to be connected to sports. So I think that broadcasting would be a really cool thing that I would really like to experience. But I'm not sure. I'm not really putting anything into stone just yet.
Okay, that's actually really interesting to hear, because you could actually maybe even start a series like this,
Yeah, you never know. For sure.
So growing up, who did you idolize? Like, who do you look up to? And who, like, for example, you play basketball, I see in your bio that Serena Williams is actually one of your idols. So what made Serena Williams one of your idols, and who else do you idolize?
Well, I just really like Serena Williams. I think she's a strong woman. She speaks up and uses her platform really, really well. And I love that about her, especially in the climate that we're in right now. I just think that she's just been such a trailblazer ever since she started playing tennis. I mean, she's always been like like a great person, I guess, for a really, really long time. And she's maintained that. So I really like that about her. And I mean, I just want to take basketball as far as I can, the way she did with tennis, and still be able to use my platform to speak good into the world.
That's awesome to hear. Yeah, like for sure. So let's go back to Semiahmoo now. Your days of playing for Semiahmoo. So how was winning that first provincial? I know Semi didn't win one for over 50. I think it was 57 years or something like that. And finally to get that one, how was that? How was that experience?
It was, I don't really know how to describe it. I think it was just really great for us to be able to bring it home. I mean, I'm still so proud of my team at that year to go 40-0 and have all these things. I don't know. I just think that we worked so hard, and for it to pay off was just really a blessing. Like, you really can't do that twice. So it's a really cool thing.
So I know you were one of the seniors on that team, right? And what do you remember about that game? Because I know being in that moment, a lot of times it just flies by, right? So what do you remember about that moment, especially because you were one of the seniors, you were surrounded by grade 10s mostly, right? How was that like? What do you remember about that game?
Well, I remember all the fouls that I got really early in the game. Honestly, that was probably one of the hardest games I've had to go through. It was just being, I don't remember how much we were down, but we were down a lot. And I was sitting on the bench because I was in foul trouble. And I just remember sitting there and not being that nervous. I mean, I looked at all the younger kids on the court and they just looked like they had stuff under control. So I was really happy about that they were able to go out there and do what they needed to do to catch the win. So, I mean, when I did get back into the game, I just knew that we needed to get some points on the board. So that was just, I don't remember a lot about it. I just remember it was an awesome feeling to finally hear that last buzzer go.
Awesome. So after that game, you got invited to play in the Battle Steel game in 2019, right? How was that experience being selected as one of the top players in Canada?
That was awesome. I mean, granted, I've met a lot of the girls and the guys that were at the BioSteel game through Team Canada stuff and everything like that, and the camps and things like that. But it was just really cool to finally have something that accommodated the women who play in Canada and the girls who work really, really hard, just as hard as the boys do. And I was just really, happy to be a part of the first group of girls that were selected. So.
Awesome. That was an awesome experience for you. So what do you miss the most about playing basketball in Semi? Like, what is that one memory you might cherish a lot of? Yeah, right. that you missed a lot.
Yes. I don't think it's one memory, but I really, really miss coming into the gym and seeing all my friends and all the people who I just adored, and my coach Allison, there's no one like her, and I'm just really happy to have played for her and had that experience.
Yeah, for sure. And so growing up, so you played basketball also in Linden, right? Washington, down just 30 minutes south of us. How was that experience different from playing at Semi?
How is it different? Well, I was there in my 10th grade year. So right before I got to Semi, I played at Linden High School. And I mean, it was very different from Canada. And I had to go through a lot of growing pains throughout basketball. I was still pretty new to the game when I was out there, but it really did teach me a lot of lessons, and I'm grateful for my time there. We also did a lot of great things in that team. So, yeah.
That's great to hear. So now moving away from basketball, so Semiahmoo, you were there for 2 years, right? What memories outside of sports did you have that you cherish a lot of?
At Semi?
Yeah,
Is that what
at Semi.
Sorry. Well, I just think, it was a great experience all around. By that time that I got to Semi, I had already been to 2 other schools. And I just think the people that were at Semi were really, they always reached out to me to see if I needed anything. The people that I was in class with and things like that were just really great. And they were all nice to me, I guess. And that's what I kind of needed coming to a new school. Yeah. So, I honestly, it was nothing short of a really good experience.
That's great to hear. So there's a question when I was coming out with this interview, I went to a few of your former teammates. I asked, what do you want to ask Faith? So Deja actually asked about the pep rally dance. What do you remember about that dance that day when there was a pep rally? And I remember you were up in front of the gym with a crowd of probably 600 students. What do you remember about that moment?
That is so funny. What do I remember about that moment? I haven't thought about that moment in a really long time. I remember getting off the stage and being so embarrassed, but I just think that was my personality and my teammates knew it. But it's just not something that I share with 600 people at once. So, no, it was really fun just to do something with my teammates in front of a whole bunch of people and just have fun with it, I guess. So, yeah, that was cool.
For sure. So I'm a big Ultimate guy, as you are aware. Yeah, yes. And you actually played Ultimate in grade 12. I remember that. I didn't coach you. That was Mr. Salzman at the time. But I remember you were out there at it would have been the Fraser Valleys, I believe. How was that experience?
It was so much fun. I've never played. Well, that's not true. I was gonna say I've never played like another sport other than basketball, but I mean, I just think it was so cool to be on a team when I wasn't like that. I didn't know anything about the sport. Like with basketball, like I just obviously I know how to play basketball, but like being on a team where I'm not really the person who kind of like knows what they're doing. I've never had that, and so it was kind of cool just for the girls and the guys who were there to just kind of like help me through it and cheer me on, even though I wasn't really doing the greatest stuff. It was really fun to just get out of my comfort zone, I guess. And I met a really, really cool people there. So it was nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So we're going to finish off with one last question, which is, it's a question I like to ask alumni that when they come back to or have an interview, which is, if you were to give one piece of advice to a younger athlete, maybe in grade 8 or grade 9, what would you give them for them to basically appreciate athletics, but also get involved? What would you tell them?
To appreciate athletics and get involved. I would say, obviously, I mean, I think it goes with, anybody would say this, just to work as hard as you could. But I think that it's really, really important to stick with something, number one, and don't lose the fun in it. I really I stress that a lot with when people ask me this question, just because I think sports, when it gets a little bit more advanced, we forget to have fun and why we started playing. So I think it's just really important that you remember to find the joy in whatever you do, whatever it is, even if you have a bad game or a bad practice or whatever it may be. Like, just remember why you started playing, and that was to have fun. And so, yeah.
That's a great piece of advice, actually. So, Faith, thank you so much for joining us today. We wish you the best of luck. So, are you actually having a season right now, or is it just canceled because of COVID?
No, we are having a season.
Okay, yes. So that's great. That's great to hear. So, best of luck this season. I hope that we can watch you play somehow, right?
Yes, for sure.
And definitely when you come back and visit us. So, thank you so much, Faith.
I will. 100%. Thank you so much, Mr. Chio.
All right, bye.
Y'all take care. Bye.